everybody, and welcome back to the 1313 podcast, the most mediocre podcast in the Star Wars universe. I'm Jacob.
I'm Jackson.
Welcome back, all you Regs, and to all you Shinies, welcome to the podcast. This is a podcast, please. Before we start, make sure that you are following us on all of our social medias, that being Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. If you haven't already, we also have a Twitch. Make sure to follow that. Link is in the description below for all of those. And if you want to go above and beyond to support the podcast, you can support us on Patreon. More about that at the end of the episode. Jackson, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing good. Actually, I have a funny story to kind of start off the episode.
Oh.
I got prank called for the first time ever in my life this week at work.
Oh.
I didn't get to tell you about this too. So if you are a new member to our show, Jacob and I work at a glasses store. So at this glasses store, I got just like a call from a guy we get a lot of calls every day asking certain questions about products, insurance, and whatnot. And this dude was like in his car, I guess, and you could literally hardly hear him. So he was just like, do you have CD's lenses? And like, I couldn't even understand what he was saying. So I was like, can you repeat that? And he's like, do you have CD's lenses? And I was like, can you say that again? And he's like, CD's lenses. And I was like, the letter C and the letter B, sir, I can't hear you at all. And he went, CD's nuts, and hung up. And I was like, it was just like a moment of realization of like, oh, he was saying CD. But the joke was just so poorly executed that it was just like, come on,
I don't know.
dude.
It sounds like he got you. It sounds like he got you.
I didn't even say CD. I said CB because you couldn't even understand the letters he was making out. There's so much static in the background.
That's
it was so
funny.
stupid.
You know that somebody driving on the highway and they thought, you know what would be funny? If I called Lens Crafters and prank called them about CD's nuts.
Bro, that was just so ridiculous.
It's almost as dumb as the Moss situation.
Yes. Don't ask about the Moss situation.
Don't ask about the Moss situation.
So
Anyway, yeah.
anyway,
It's been another week of school. This is my Friday. I don't have anything going on tomorrow except for a shoot. I'm shooting a short film. I was on Hybrid Stream earlier this week, and I was talking about there's a short that I scripted and we're shooting tomorrow.
oh nice.
It's about it's 40 seconds, and it has the prompt is that it has to be somebody doing an activity and they're interrupted by something smaller than a deck of cards. They like stow it and they keep going. So me being gruesome. The skit is somebody's sewing, and then they hear like a knock at the door, and they set the sewing needle down in a pincushion, but the needle's poking straight up. And then when they go to the door, they grab like their Uber Eats or whatever, and on their way back, when they go to sit down, they accidentally go right on the top of the needle.
Ouch.
And then they look at the needle and they have to pull it out of their hand. So there's a guy in our group that knows how to make fake blood. We're just going to use like a kneaded eraser in somebody's hand to have it sticking straight up. But once it's covered in blood, you're not going to be able to tell. So no, it's kind of cool. I got to every project the role changes, so I got to be director for this project, so I'm kind of excited. We have a storyboard for it that one of the girls made in my group. I shot a previs of it. We did some location scouting on Monday, and we have 3 hours to shoot tomorrow.
Nice.
So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun, or it's going to be hectic, or it's going to be really hectic because I have a pic. Not dissing anybody, but I feel like I'm the only one in the group that's like actually touched a camera before. Which isn't bad. You're there to learn how to do it. It's just I have like a little edge on everybody else. So hoping it goes well tomorrow, because I only have 3 hours to do it before we go to see that Sword Art Online movie.
Yes, that's gonna be pretty cool. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I know.
See it with the guys.
I almost know nothing about it. So
Me neither. So I'll be going in it blind with you.
But
I
granted,
didn't even watch the trailer.
yeah, last time I went into one of these movies blind, it was the Demon Slayer movie, and it was awesome. So I'm
Yes.
hoping it's going to be the same thing for this. Sword Art Online was one of my favorites growing up. Back in middle school, it was like the anime. I loved it. I loved the Unabridged series that never got finished for season 1. They got like 5 episodes in, and then they said, we're done. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. Hopefully I can get done in time. Hopefully.
I'm hoping you do.
What time is it at again? It's like 7 o'clock?
7, yep.
Okay.
You should be fine.
Let's hope I make it.
So kind of now transitioning into a lot of Star Wars news for this week. We kind of have a little bit of a list we're going to go through.
We got a lot of stuff that happened this week.
A lot of stuff. So the main thing that happened this week that you'll see in our Tika's episode is that there was another Hasbro stream with a lot of Black Series and TVC reveals. We feel like it's more so trying to wrap up Return of the Jedi stuff so that they can move into the Clone Wars anniversary. But they did announce some Clone Wars anniversary related stuff, and then people who have appeared in the Clone Wars, which I really like because we got Ki-Adi-Mundi, who will be our first addition to the Black Series to be a Revenge of the Sith character that has not been done yet for box art at all. So he'll be number 1.
Yeah, I wonder what color they're going to pick for it.
I would assume
I would have thought.
red,
I would
but
have
in my
thought
infinite color blindness, I don't know.
Well, red is Attack of the Clones already, and
Ooh,
red would
you're
make
right.
the most sense. So, what are they going to pick? I guess it's probably going to be like maybe a more vibrant shade of red. I couldn't imagine them. Maybe
Maybe
like
like a Mustafar lava.
I was going to say orange, but then that's like what they did for the Mandalorian. Mando's kind of orange.
It's like a rust.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. And if you want to hear more about everything that was unveiled in that stream, make sure that you check out Tika's Trading Post going live tomorrow at 9:00.
Yes. And then moving on from there, we do have the announcement that Vision Season 2 will be coming out May 4th.
May 4th.
Woo-hoo!
So, Star Wars Instagram posted today, like around noon, that they were going to be doing. We already knew that Visions Volume 2 was coming out, but we didn't
But
know
not
what.
this soon.
Not only is this coming out relatively quickly. What? Because isn't Mando's going to be going on still, won't it? Or is it just going to be wrapping up?
It might be close to wrapping up at that time, I would think.
Yeah, so whole lot of Star Wars going on. They're probably going to release all the episodes same day again, but we have a list of all the studios, and I think these are the names of what the episodes are going to be. I'm not going to read the episodes' names. There'll probably be a picture somewhere on the screen of this image that I found. If it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's not, oh well. But we have some studios like Cartoon Saloon, we have Punk Robot, we have MIR Studio, which are the people that did Legends of Korra, which I'm really excited about. We have, it's like AARD Man, so Artman, I think. Triggerfish, we have Dart, we have Studio LA, and we got 88 Pictures and El Guri? I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, pictures on the thing. If you know how to read it better than I do, they're on the screen so you can read it for yourself. And there's a list of names for everything. Yeah, somewhere here. Somewhere in this picture plane.
I'm really excited. I can only predict that they're going to release all the Vision episodes at once.
Unfortunately, I hated that about last season.
I didn't like that just because I had to sit down and watch everything because we shot like a YouTube special just like immediately of like what was our reaction. But it'll be May 4th and about that time as well. I'm not going to be too busy. School's going to be wrapping up. So hopefully we can do the same thing we did last time.
That's like in our first 10 videos on the channel.
Crap, you're right.
Is that Vision special. And I was not a part of that one.
That is true.
And that was either right when I got COVID or I was still doing school that day. It was right when that was happening. Dang.
Whack.
So this is going to be exciting. There might be a special on it. We'll probably save it for a main episode. We don't know. But
we'll have to see.
I was very impressed with how Visions was last time, and I'm really excited to see how this goes this time. I looked up all the studios, just kind of seeing like what their art styles looked like. And it looks like everything's going to be a lot more different, and it looks like things aren't going to be following the story that was presented in the last Vision episodes, which is kind of upsetting because some of them left the story kind of like open to interpretation or like a little loose end that it could have.
I feel like that's meant to be that.
Yeah, it could have been continued, but again, it could. Yeah, that's probably what the purpose of it was. So these seem like they're going to be all new stories with all new characters, which is going to be fine. We'll just have to see how it goes.
Yeah. Vision Season 1 didn't disappoint. I love every single episode, some more than others. Lo Pinocho. If you're an original fan to this channel, you'll remember the Bunny Girl memes. You'll remember the Bunny Girl meme.
Not the Bunny Girl man.
But moving away from Visions, we also got more information now about Star Wars Celebration in London of this year with the announcement of guest appearances. Now I'll kind of read through the list real quick of what Star Wars, the official page, was posting. Hayden will be there. That's awesome. We're also going to have Katie Sackhoff, who's Bo-Katan. We're going to have Mads Mikkelsen, who is Galen Erso from Rogue One.
And isn't he also going to be in Skeleton Crew or something? He's appearing in something else really soon.
I can't remember exactly. We have James Arnold Taylor, who is the voice of Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars, and Johnny Test, if you didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dennis Lawson, who is Wedge Antilles. Now, this is only the beginning of announcements of people that will be at Celebration. It's going to be packed. I wish I could go, but I'm really waiting for it to get back to the States before.
Yeah.
Like, if I don't have a training event going on by the time I graduate, I will full send and go to Celebration. I need to go to one before I do anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Celebration is a definitely a bucket list destination I would love to go to. And the fact that Hayden's going to be there, and we know that the Ahsoka show is rolling out towards the end of this year, kind of making me think maybe Hayden's going to be popping up in the Ahsoka show. Like there's been rumors that he rapped on set. And I'm taking everything with a grain of salt because I don't want my hopes to be put up with the fact that maybe we're going to see Ahsoka and Anakin together in their Clone Wars appearances, because I would love that. And I would love that so much that it would really make me upset if it wasn't in the show. So I'm not getting my hopes up whatsoever. But it does lead me to suspect that maybe he'll be making an appearance in more projects coming up, especially if he's coming back into the Star Wars kind of verse. He kind of took that hiatus for a little bit, not really doing celebrations or appearances for a while. So this is where the fun begins. I'm really excited. Hopefully, I pray that Celebration next year is going to be like in Chicago, because that's definitely the closest.
It's doable too.
Yes, for that it's drivable. If it's in like Cali or if it's in Florida, we're screwed. We're screwed because flights are expensive.
Because if we get to go to Celebration, I will 100% dress up in armor for it. So if we drive, that would make my life so much easier if I could just transport that in the car, because I would not want to fly with armor. That would be
a nightmare. It would be a
nightmare.
And it would get
especially
lost.
With all sorts of lost luggage and stuff going around in the news. And yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah, they would get lost or broken, or somebody would decide that it could be used as a weapon and confiscate it for themselves.
Yeah.
So
I'm curious about the concept of weapons too. Just quick little thing about Celebration. Just because for Comic-Con they don't allow prop weapons anymore. And people took pictures of like the garbage cans outside the convention filled with like shields, weapons, hammers, swords, of just like things that all these people had worked on that they had to just throw away or else they couldn't go in. I think that's a bit ridiculous, but I
think Celebration was, because the amount of people with lightsabers at the Celebration stream from like last summer, they're gonna allow it.
They have to allow it.
So no, I'm very excited for if a potential Celebration comes our way. Maybe we might be doing some big collaboration project that has something to maybe do with that. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. That is plans for the future.
Quick little sprinkle in as well. We got a new poster for The Mandalorian with Din Djarin on top of his N1 Starfighter and Grogu in the Darksaber. Couldn't be more excited for season 3. I'm trying to binge season 2 right now with my girlfriend so that she's up to date, so that when season 3 comes out, we're going week to week with it.
There was also another one of those like TV spot Instagram reel trailers that came out, which is just an amalgamation of all stuff that we've already seen. It's nothing new, but this is when the train's starting to go. This is the Star Wars thing where it's like there's like one trailer and you go like 6 months without anything, and then there's another trailer like about a month and a half before the show comes out, and then they start dropping minis and minis and minis, and they start including like little bits of different footage or different lines, just little tidbits to build up the hype. So the hype train has officially left the station, and it's chugging along to March 1st or March whatever the heck.
Yes, March 1st.
So that's the thing. It's like Mando is like, it's always in the back, and I'm always like, before it's coming, I'm like, I don't care, because there's everything else is coming out. And I'm like, oh, I got other stuff to look forward to. But when it starts rearing its head around that corner, I just get so excited because Mando is amazing.
Yes, it's some of the best Star Wars content we have been blessed with since Disney took over the franchise. And I couldn't be more excited. And the fact it will come out in tandem towards the end of the Bad Batch is cool. But one last thing before we get into the Bad Batch. I know there's a lot of news this week. One of the biggest pieces I would consider as well is that we had the announcement from EA that Jedi Survivor would be delayed, unfortunately.
So they put this thing on Instagram that I saw, and it's basically them saying that Respawn has a certain standard of production that they want to achieve in releasing this game, because this game is directly a prospect of how the fans reacted to the first one. I don't think they intended on making a second one, but the response to that first game was so immense that they went ahead and they're doing another one. And I think they realized that if they got this wrong, there's no hope for EA Star Wars anymore, especially with the botch launched of Battlefront 2, and then they ended its development. And then their last Star Wars game being Squadrons, with how that flopped so hard. They're banking off this one. So they said that there's like major bugs and stuff that they still need to fix with the game. And to be honest, I'm okay. You can delay a game as long as you need to, as long as it's still gonna come out. I love Jedi Fallen Order, and I would hate to get this new game and have it just be mega buggy right off the bat, have it feel like it was rushed, because the last one felt pristine. It felt like a real finished product. This isn't with this, but I don't think we mentioned this before. We never talked about the downfall of Ubisoft, how Ubisoft is really going under.
I was just going to more so hit on Respawn really quick, just because Respawn is a company acquired by Ubisoft.
Yeah, they're responsible for Titanfall.
But Respawn is a really good company, so if they're saying that they need a minute to cook, I'm gonna let them cook, because Titanfall 1 and 2 did not miss at all. Those are games that I would consider to be perfect in my top games ever that have like released. And again, if they just need a little bit more time on the game, that's fine. I feel like we are seeing a bit of a trend, which is worrisome, about games getting constantly pushed back. I know Hogwarts just got pushed back.
Well, it's just because the studios and the suits, they put a time limit on these things, and they're like, you need to get this done by this day. This is the day that we want it out. And they set that date like towards the beginning of production. And when production's starting to come to an end, I think because everybody learned from Cyberpunk.
Yep, everybody learned from
Cyberpunk. They were like, release Cyberpunk now. And they said, okay, we'll release it. And then with the bugs and stuff, they're like, this is terrible. And then the game flopped. It's actually making a little bit of a resurgence right now.
I still don't enjoy it. And I tried it.
It's like, yeah, people hated it because it wasn't finished, and they're like, why did you release an unfinished game? So it's impossible. You're always going to hurt somebody's feelings, and you're always going to make somebody upset, but it's better for them to take their time and release the game later, because after the game's released, nobody's got to talk about how the game was delayed. Everybody's going to talk about how good the game is. Rather than if you release it early, everybody's going to talk about how terrible it was and that you should have waited. But Ubisoft is really, they're tanking. I think they had 3 separate side projects in the works, and they cut funding for all 3 of them. The only things that they're focusing on now are Assassin's Creed, one other franchise. I think it's the Far Cry franchise, and that new Star Wars game. Those are the only things that they're focusing on. I think they had 3 other games, one of which was in development for like 5 years, and they just pulled the plug on it. So it's kind of upsetting, because Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed was like in middle school. We went through that point in time where we weren't like uber Star Wars fans. We kind of moved away. And before Destiny came out, Assassin's Creed was my thing. I loved it. I had books. I had action figures. I loved playing the games. That was my bread and butter. So seeing Ubisoft kind of go down like this is kind of sad. But if all your money is made off the same franchises, every time you branch off, it's like not that good. I don't it's
time for the AAA titles and companies that we knew to take a step down and let all these young and uprising companies take their place. If these companies that have been around since we have been young are not going to succeed and meet the standards anymore for what people want in a product, let them go.
Especially for the fact that game prices are going up to like $70 now, $80 in some instances.
2K was $80. I remember that.
Praise Nintendo for keeping the prices down. That solid $60. Some games at Walmart, like for like high value Nintendo games, are $50. They're like really undercutting people, which is kind of nice.
Nintendo knows how to do it right.
Yeah. So and Nintendo is also pretty nice because they don't overwork their people. But speaking on Nintendo, one of my other favorite games of all time is coming out this year, the Tears of the Kingdom for Legend of Zelda, and we haven't heard zip about it, and it comes out in like 3 or 4 months. There's been 2 trailers. I'm really worried. I think it's going to get like postponed. I really do.
We'll have to see. Got to build around hype of other things too.
No. Yeah. So my hype train is going to be continuous going from, because like it's supposed to release in May. So now it's going to be Jedi Survivor in April, and then rolling into May, I'm going to have like back-to-back favorite games of all time, like kind of predecessors. So we're going to have to see how that goes. And we're going to have to see if Jedi Survivor can step to the plate that Jedi Fallen Order really put in place, and we'll have to see if Tears of the Kingdom is just a rehash of Breath of the Wild with a semi-different map. We shall see. But what else do we got? Is it?
That's it. That's literally
That's
it.
all
We are
news?
20 minutes in, and now we are finally going to talk about what you have all been waiting for.
Or not waiting for the Bad Batch.
The Tribe was the name of this
Kashyyyk episode. Kashyyyk week. Kashyyyk week.
Kashyyyk week. Kashyyyk week.
So this is the Gungi episode that we saw in the trailers, and this is my live reaction to seeing Gungi come on screen.
Wow, really?
Yeah, well, I knew he was coming, and I saw the
we all
thumbnail.
knew it.
Not only did I know it was coming, but I saw the thumbnail.
Spoiled it, and I was like,
yeah, the thumbnail for the
dude.
episode was a Wookiee. I'm like, oh, this is the Gungi episode. It's like,
Yeah.
it wasn't anything surprising.
We got the
So,
prediction right that it was going to be that, but in my opinion, at least it was. They do a decent job at hiding what the episode's going to be about, and it just had the Wookiee, and I was like, come on, man.
Yeah, it was a little bit odd, but it was nice to see another part of Kashyyyk.
Yes.
This felt like it was further up in the hemisphere, because usually what we see from Kashyyyk are those massive trees that look semi-tropical and like beaches. And yes, we still got those rolling mountains, but a lot of this felt kind of like more like a New England forest. It didn't feel like the rest of Kashyyyk, which I admire, because we know Kashyyyk is a forest planet, but it's very possible for there to be different fauna on the planet just because of the different altitude and like the different latitude and longitude. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I was happy to revisit Kashyyyk because the only times we've seen it is really Revenge of the Sith and then Jedi Fallen Order. We don't really get like an in-between of like what's going on.
Oh no, there's don't forget, there's the Christmas special.
Shut up. But I was honestly really intrigued and happy that how they had the whole arc about Trandoshans are on the planet hired by the Empire to hunt down the Wookiees because that
Makes
is their
sense.
natural predator.
It makes sense.
Well, their natural prey and predator. But I thought that was a really, really neat idea. See, what kind of piqued my interest as well when I was watching it is when like the head honcho of the Trandoshans was like, oh, it's a Jedi. And then the clone troopers, which are now with the Empire, were like, we need to report this. And he was like, no, we're going to deal with it first. What I thought about consciously is, what if this was reported? Could we have seen an Inquisitor?
Inquisitor in the
That
Clone
was the
Wars style?
first thought I had, was an Inquisitor in Clone Wars style. I thought that was pretty rad.
That would have been cool. It would have been. But there isn't one. I forget, at the end of the episode, did Gungi stay on Kashyyyk?
Gungi stays. Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Stays with those.
Because I was going to say, I hope if they travel with the Bad Batch, then maybe there's like another instance. I only watched it one time. I didn't have the ability to watch it multiple times.
I really
week.
stopped watching it twice because I like it just doing it the first time through.
I watch it twice. That way I enjoy it the first time, and then I refresh my memory for the episodes. But no, it was a super fun episode. Again, doesn't really contribute to the main story, but I've made that point 2 weeks in a row now. I'm not going to rehash it.
Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to contribute to the main story, but also Gungi. So Gungi supremacy. No. You have something?
The big thing I was going to talk about, as I'm not even going to use the F word. Sorry. I was thinking about using it for a second, but as an episode not related to maybe main story plot.
Filler. He was going to say filler.
Stop. But as an episode that wasn't related to main story beats that we've had so far, I really, really enjoyed it because it was just refreshing to see a character that we've seen from the Clone Wars and new aspects of Kashyyyk as well. If you've been around for a while for the channel, you know I also study religion, not just like Christianity, but like all religions in an aspect to gain a better understanding of the world. And so for me, it was really, really cool to see like what Wookiees believe in, like the trees and whatnot. They pray to the trees and the trees give them advice. It's almost this mysticism of more religions that involve a lot of nature, such as what not necessarily Indian religions, because they consider it to be a philosophy instead. Reminded me a bit of something like Hinduism or Jainism.
Okay.
With that. So I thought that was really, really cool. I like to see how other species interpret the Force, because I believe the trees communicating to the Wookiees is through the living force of the planet.
Probably.
Because we have seen so many other species adaptations and understandings of the Force, like the Chiss call it third sight. Other species that we've seen in some other random episodes of the Clone Wars use it for other things as well.
And then there's the Guardians of the Wills, which is what it's actually supposed to be called.
Yeah. referred to as the Ashla and Bogan by ancient societies in Star Wars too.
Yeah, for light and dark. But no. Yeah. Trees.
The trees, pretty dope. See, the point that I was going to make though really quick is although this episode was the tribe, we would like to remind you that the next episodes will come out February 8th, and this is the mid-season finale. Finale, bro.
Finale.
Kill me, dude. Kill me.
Okay.
But
where the shoddy at?
Kill. Bro. All right. So we're getting a double episode release of The Clone Conspiracy and Truth and Consequences. Now, Clone Conspiracy isn't the first time this title's been used, I'm pretty sure, because that's what was used for part of 5's arc in the Clone Wars. But this, I feel like, is very much going to cater to
everybody gonna wake up.
Everyone's been wanting, something with the Empire. And I was mentioning this as well before, but how I feel like after the mid-season finale, we won't have any new footage because the only main things that we're missing from the trailer is Rex, Palpatine, and I think there's just another like scene really quick. But that's what really intrigues me is
what's going to happen?
After we have this mid-season finale, what route are the Bad Batch going to be taking going forward from here?
I'm hoping that the things start to move forward from like what these like little fill spots that have been. I know what's probably going to happen is that we're going to get this mid-season finale.
Yeah.
And then it's going to go right back to like what the past 3 episodes have been.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, but this is me hoping that they start to get the ball rolling like a little bit more. We get to see like a little bit of what's kind of happening because it would be a shame for me I've waited 3 weeks to get back to the main story for them to dump everything that's main story in one day and then have it go back to just kind of like side quests.
I feel like it can't because although we're getting side quests, every time a side quest occurs, a character has an epiphany of maybe we could be doing more, like Echo urging Hunter, or people understanding a bigger purpose.
Maybe this will be the breaking point, and
yes.
Hunter will finally realize that they can't keep running and doing jobs forever and that they should turn and fight.
Because then I feel like if that's the trajectory of it too, and after this mid-season finale, if everything else changes for the Bad Batch, I feel like the episodes that people want to call filler now won't be considered filler later, because when you watch the series all the way through, it would have made sense. It's just always the anticipation that you just want more with the episodes too.
Yeah. Like I said before, I don't hate these episodes because they're not following the main story. I would like to go back to the main story because what you've established is really cool and really nice. So I'd like you to develop on it so we can see more of it.
Ooh, something I was thinking about KASHYYK actually is when the Trandoshans are burning those gigantic like pillars or mounds, and then Gungi gets like really upset and offended. I had
those statues.
Yes, I had thought, what if this is complete theorization? But what if
theorization?
Thank you. What if that is supposed to be a Wookiee's version of a Calicori? Because the family is also.
What if it was just a graveyard?
I mean, shoot, if it was a graveyard,
they're headstones, and they're like, wipe them out.
What are they gonna do, bro? Those headstones are huge. You think they're gonna bury a Wookiee vertically like this?
Maybe they're like the Easter Island heads. They go further underground.
Maybe.
Yeah, but no, this is something I do like to see in Star Wars is the expansion of cultures and like world building. Because we know like, Wookiees be like into trees and stuff, but like other than that and what we see like of Chewbacca, we don't know anything about the Wookiees like almost at all, except that they cook with late 80s high-tech cookware. Or early 80s cookware.
According to the Star Wars Holiday Special.
I wish it was canon. I really do. Well, yeah, I wish it was canon.
What really intrigued me was how Hunter understood Wookiee. So I wonder maybe what could have happened beforehand that Hunter... Instincts. Yes, he has instincts, but he isn't able to translate languages like Echo. He can just straight up understand the language in some capacity. Tech that
translates. But I thought Tech was doing a lot of translating this episode too. He always has that visor down where he sees the side-by-sides that was introduced in the Clone Wars.
But remember when they're on the Marauder and then they're kind of just flying and Gungi's like scared because he's like, holy crap, they're clones. And then Hunter's like, he's scared. If I'm correct, his name is Gungi. From when he was like roaring at him because he said his Wookiee was a little rough. So maybe there was some point in the Clone Wars where the Bad Batch did work with Wookiees?
It wouldn't surprise me. It's a big galaxy. Or at least they were taught it on Camino. They gotta have taken some form of language classes. We have to. Did the clones have to take general education classes?
What kind of classes did they have? Did they have to take home ed, cooking,
They had to
wood
take
shop?
politics. Did clones have to take political science?
They clearly never taught the clones politics, or else they wouldn't still be soldiers of the Grand Republic.
Or would they?
Nah, bro, they'd be like, screw this, I'll just take another job.
Completely obedient. That's probably why they didn't teach them.
That is probably why they said, let's cripple them in the one thing they should never understand, politics.
Mm-hmm. Ain't no politicking happened on Camino.
What really made me laugh a whole lot too, just during the episode, was how like Wrecker starts to encompass like the Wookiee behavior. Like he's growling like in the battle with like the other Wookiee, and he's like making, I don't think he's actually speaking Wookiee. And that was certainly a time
He's
where
probably just yelling because they're yelling.
yeah, I was thinking about turning on the subtitles because similar to like how Kenny in South Park will go, like sometimes it'll actually have something in the subtitles that's meaningful if you have them on. But I was curious to do that and I just didn't do it because I hate having the subtitles on my screen when I just want to pay attention.
I can't fathom when you nematodes watch a show with subtitles on.
Maya does that.
That's in English. Why?
No, she's just like,
Why?
She likes it, but I'm just like, they're so distracting for me unless it's anime. That is my exception.
Anime is fine because half the time you don't know what they're saying and it's in another language. It requires subtitles if it's not dubbed. If a show is in English and you can speak English, why do you have subtitles on? Why? Because even if you don't hear what they say, context clues usually provide as to what's going on as well. So I hate subtitles so much.
Yeah.
I hate it. It's one of my pet peeves. I just can't stand watching a show that's in English, your native tongue, and then you gotta read it too? Dude, if you're trying to read, crack open a book. Like, I'm trying to watch a movie, not trying to read a movie.
I don't know. The episode was just more enjoyable for me just because I was already having a really good day at that point. I was at like a high for sure.
It was like 5.
We're going into Bad Batch now.
It was 5 in the morning for me. I was like, okay, guys, let's watch the Bad Batch.
I had to wait till later because I had a fitness exam in the morning and I threw up at that, which is funny.
Nice. When you work so hard that your stomach says, enough!
Yes, that was quite funny. But I was already just feeling really good about it. And so having the way it ended made me more excited for the mid-season finale because I wasn't like, oh my gosh, it's something boring. Now I have to wait a whole nother week. Because if it was focused on Wanda Sykes' character, I would not have been that amused with this episode.
Yeah.
I really just wouldn't have. If it wasn't something like Gunji or something important that we've seen before, then it just would have been what
I would have fallen flat again.
Yep, it would have fallen flat for me. But again, like I said, this week was a lot of fun, just in the aspects of learning more about Wookiee culture, KASHYYK week building.
KASHYYK week. It's like Radio Shack. I don't know why saying KASHYYK week reminds me of
because Caleb said it in the chat, bro. That was so funny, bro.
Yeah, did Caleb work at Radio Shack? Why do I have some form of connection with KASHYYK week and Radio Shack?
No, I have no clue.
Does Radio Shack even still exist?
No, they don't. They closed down. Remember there was one near us?
Yeah, I know. But was it just that location? Or is it
shut down nationwide, dude. Shut down
I gotta figure this out. Is Radio Shack still alive?
Probably not. Probably not.
Is Radio Shack still in business? Operates primarily as an e-commerce website. So it's like franchise stores and e-commerce.
It's like Amazon. Lame.
No more brick and mortar Radio Shack. Shout out to Radio Shack. When I broke my Razor Kraken back in freshman year of high school, I went to Radio Shack to get a new 3-prong aux player cord so I could plug in my Razor Kraken into my.
Chill.
Do you remember that when the tip snapped off?
Yep. I remember that. That was upsetting.
Yeah, and then I still couldn't fix it because my solder job was terrible, so I just had to buy a new one.
Yeah. I feel like really other than that, just besides the fact that it was a really fun, go happy episode to watch, there wasn't too much else to discuss that I can really think of.
No, there wasn't like any like digs or callbacks really in this episode that I could find. Granted, I only watched it once, and on my second time watching it, I'll probably find something. I'll be like, no, I should have talked about it.
Just put in the comments when the episode goes up.
It'll be a pinned comment, or it'll be in the Discord. Shout out to the Discord.
Yes, if you're not a member of our Discord and you would like to discuss the episodes immediately when they come out with some very, very awesome Star Wars fans, the best fans, in fact, in the galaxy.
We have the best fans.
We do have the best fans. But make sure you join the Discord then for that. We have a ton of other channels for a bunch of different things, like 3D art now, I guess, which is pretty funny.
Oh, the AI art stuff.
Yeah, the AI art that Casual Clone's doing.
So your Casual Clone put like an AI generated voice thing?
I didn't get to see it, but you said it sounded like him.
No, it didn't sound like him. It's like a girl talking about... I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it right now. Because it deals with the podcast, so it's fitting.
Okay.
But like how much of a person it sounded like was really, really creepy. Like,
okay, because it's a D. Bradley Baker, so I was confused.
No, there's two. So he did one with D. Bradley Baker, and it didn't sound like him at all. But then there's this one that's just...
Why, hello there, everyone. I wanted to talk to you guys about this amazing podcast I have been listening to. It's called the 1313 Podcast, and it's all about Star Wars and action figures and cosplay and whatnot. I really freaking love it. And they even got a Discord server with a bunch of amazing people on there. I personally love your Casual Clone the most. He's kind of hot, not gonna lie, and he's German too. And he's tall. Oh my god. But anyway,
that's
check them
freaky,
out.
Dude.
I know.
The cadence of speech and the stuttering.
Yeah, like the stutter and the inflection is what got me. Because like you can, it sounded like Google for a while, but then when it started changing, the cadence, I was like,
it wasn't like 1 3 the 1313. Like it took its time saying things. That's freaky. We should make that an outro. We should ask. We need to
use the Mark Thompson one, dude.
We have the thing now. We can do that. We have to do that.
We got to make that. So and then this was the other one that was supposed to be D. Bradley Baker. That didn't really sound like D. Bradley Baker.
Brothers, we have an important mission to follow, so everyone listen up. We have the objective to all subscribe to the 1313 podcast, and no exceptions. It is imperative that we complete this mission without failure, because otherwise we will be overrun. Jacob, Jackson, and Tommy are the only ones that have the location of the energy reserves that we need to destroy in order to cut off the Separatists' power supply. According to our informant Hunter Schultz, subscribing to the 1313 podcast will trigger a series of chain reactions that are necessary in order to help cut off the power supply. So get subscribing.
You heard the man.
That was actually pretty funny.
You heard the man. Subscribe. But no, yeah, he threw those in, and he's been throwing in different like AI art generated stuff. Did some Chad stuff.
I did see that.
But no, it's technology's really it's crazy.
Join the Discord.
Join the Discord if you want to get more of this, because he's actually doing like a slight narrative with some of the AI art that he's generating. So if you want to hop in on that little story arc that he's doing, make sure you're in the Discord to meet all these fun and talented and hilarious people. But I think that's all for today.
Yep, that's all we got for today.
One last thing.
Okay.
Just finished Rings of Power. The plot twist at the end, I had it spoiled for me, which I was so mad about, but it was fire. The show is so good.
I gotta watch it now,
Each episode is like a movie because it's like over an hour long.
Jeez.
But it's only 8 episodes.
So basically Game of Thrones.
Yes, it's a real sit down and watch, but the first 3 episodes, they're like real world building, like real building. So it felt kind of slow at first, but 4 picked it up. 5 went nuts, and the rest of the series was just like, it was good. And they had just a tasteful amount of fan service, like in those last 2 episodes that had even me going, oh my gosh. So no, if you haven't watched Rings of Power and you're a Lord of the Rings fan, watch Rings of Power, only on Amazon Prime. Give us money now. I shilled your stuff, Amazon. Give us money. Thank you guys so much for watching the 1313 podcast. Please, if you haven't already, follow us on all of our social medias, that being Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and Twitch. Links in the description below. If you want to keep yourself warm this winter, we also have merch. Link is also in the description below. And if you want to go above and beyond in supporting the podcast, support us on Patreon. We have 3 tiers, 3 ways to support, with our top tier being the Gungan Boss tier for $13.13 a month. That includes a shout out at the end of the video, access to a private Discord, and we do giveaways at the beginning of every single month. Mm-hmm. What that giveaway is going to be, we're not sure right now. The month is
I have an idea.
Oh, you have an idea?
I have an idea.
You have an idea?
But we'll wait.
I'm gonna know, but you won't, and you guys aren't gonna know until next week. So please be Be subscribed to the podcast to find out more details. Goodbye, guys.
Bye, all.
What a botched outro.